this is Miss Gobert, and I'm here with Victoria Roussel.
Hi.
She is a physical education teacher, and I am going to talk with her today about some ways that she incorporates nutrition and health education into her curriculum so that you guys can see how what we're talking about in class can be applied into the actual real world in what y'all are doing. So, Victoria, do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and your current job and how you kind of got to where you are?
Okay. I actually graduated from Nichols in 2011. Go Colonels. And in athletic training. So I do have somewhat of a health sciences background. And I loved athletic training. I loved everything about it. But my life took me in a different direction, and I started teaching PE at a private school near my house, and I fell in love with it. So with my background, I took that and became an elementary PE teacher. So I do like to incorporate all the aspects of health and nutrition into my lessons every day. My first job out of college, I actually taught preschool through 8th grade, which was challenging because the kids were all at a different level, and presenting the information to them was challenging because of that. Now, in my current job, I only teach kindergarten through 3rd grade. So the information is a little more condensed and simplified.
Or specific,
Specific in the way that I present it to my babies. And that's what I do. I teach preschool through 3rd grade physical education.
And I'm glad that you brought that up because there are so many different routes to becoming a physical education teacher, and I think that's good for y'all to hear too, because I know we have some health promotion majors, students that are majoring in something and then have a minor in health promotion. So perhaps that's a route that you could take as well into becoming a teacher. So, and you mentioned that, originally you were teaching a broader range of ages, which is interesting, and now you get to do just more of a specific age group. So did you find, obviously you're having to be a little bit more specific in how you teach those things, but did you find you enjoyed one way versus the other more?
It was different when I was presenting information to middle schoolers. They already had somewhat of a background knowledge of health and nutrition and taking care of their bodies. So I was able to do some fun assignments and activities with them, whereas now I presented almost all of my information in more of a game-like, basic manner, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Cool. So we, in our class, have just been focusing on the nutrition basics, so basic macronutrients and healthy eating in general, and then tools that we can use to teach it. So we've been talking about MyPlate and MyPlate.gov, and y'all are going to be doing an activity where you have to kind of navigate through that website and see how it works for the public and the community to use. So what do you find, what ways are you incorporating nutrition and health education into your actual curriculum and the classes that you're able to teach?
So, what I do is I use MyPlate as my reference information, and my kids are exposed to it. They see it. I have posters of it in my gym and in my classroom. But we also use websites like Brain Pop Junior and those type of things that present the information at their level, and it draws them into becoming very interested in the topics.
Did y'all have access to that in school? Did y'all use that in your? Well, I guess you weren't in educate. You weren't an education major.
I wasn't.
If any of y'all are using that, I'd be interested to know. Just a side note.
And it's fine. And this past week, for example, we were learning in physical education. We were learning fitness and flexibility, and part of that lesson was chasing and fleeing games. So we talked all about chasing and fleeing. What does it mean to chase someone? What does it mean to flee from someone? We talked about how to safely tag people, and we talked all about how we would play these games. And then after I laid down those basics, what I did was I put out poly spots all over the gym. I put out yellow ones, blue ones, purple ones, and red ones. And then I asked the students, how many of us ate fruits for breakfast? And they raised their hand and shared what fruits they enjoy eating. And then we had a little quiz, and I said, what fruits are yellow? And they told me bananas. So everyone that was standing on a yellow was on a banana. And what fruits are red? And they told me apples. So everyone that was standing on a red was an apple. And the purple were the grapes, and the blue were the blueberries, and so on. And we went to talk about how important it is to eat your fruits and vegetables every day, and how many fruits and vegetables you need to eat every day. And the kids, because they were standing on a fruit, they were so engaged with learning about how many fruits and vegetables they needed to eat in a day. And then we played a little game called Fruit Salad, and I called out their fruits, and if I called out your fruit, you had to get off of your fruit and find another one. And then when Miss Victoria called out Fruit Salad, everybody had to switch and find new fruits.
Awesome.
And they really seemed to enjoy it. And then after we did that lesson, we talked a lot about flexibility in our muscles and how we stretch our muscles. And then we went on to talk about what our different muscles were.
Awesome.
And how, when we do our stretches, how important it is to drink our water. And we went into a conversation on, well, how much water should we drink in a day? And
that's great.
And
yeah.
those kinds of things.
And see, and like that's a perfect example of you're never gonna want to just like transmit information like in a book, or you always want to do it in a creative way. And this gives you the means to do it through physical activity, which is education in itself. And then they have to think about answers and kind of actively participate in the quiz at the same time.
Correct. And like I was telling Ms. Gobert, like some of our barriers that I face is I don't see my kids every day. Mm-hmm. I only see them, some kids I see for 90 minutes a week, some kids I see for 120 minutes a week. I see some kids for 30 minutes at a time, 3 times a week, and some kids I see twice a week for an hour. And that's the only physical education time that they get. So it is very challenging sometimes to find the balance in delivering the important information that they need to know, while also giving them that time to play and to learn the physical skills and lessons that they need to practice.
So it sounds like being very creative in how you kind of like mix all of those things together.
Correct.
Like, so it's never just going to be a lesson about my plate, maybe, but you're incorporating more than that into the lesson for that day.
Correct. Especially at the young level that they are. When you make them a banana and you make them an apple, like if you tell them you are an apple, they will completely
They're an apple.
Take on that role.
Yeah, that's great. And then that like helps with the imagination too. So yeah, that's really good. So we talked a little bit about websites that you use in tell me again, Kid Pop Junior?
I use Brain Pop and Brain Pop Junior a lot in my classes. I also used to have access to healthteacher.com, which was a very interactive website. Our district doesn't use that website anymore, but I do find it to be a great resource.
Okay. Yeah, those are things that maybe I could look into using in this class too. So we're using MyPlate, like I said, and one thing that I wanted y'all to be able to see with MyPlate is that you can find information based on any stage of life and also regionally across the United States too. So back to barriers and how you incorporate nutrition and health education into your classes. You mentioned to me that you have a set of guidelines where you have to specifically talk about drug prevention.
Yes,
okay. Can you elaborate about that?
I am required by, there's a state title that says that we have to teach 16 hours of drug education a year. And when I'm only seeing some of my kids 2 hours a week, 16 hours in a whole year is
pretty significant.
It's pretty significant to take away from their physical education to teach drug education. So what I like to do is when I present the drug education using some of those resources we talked about. And I also, when we're talking about the drug education, like we talk about how our lungs and how it's easy for us to breathe, and it's, you know, we want to put healthy things, we want to put good things in our body, we want to take care of our body, because we don't really have to think about breathing. You know, a lot of people who struggle with breathing, you know, they have to work at it. So we want to take care of our bodies, and we don't want to put bad things in our bodies, like smoking and things like that.
Vaping right now
Correct.
is so big.
Correct.
I don't know if you had seen about this, I think it was a high schooler who had some type of respiratory, I think he might have passed away from it.
It's very
due to
dangerous
vaping.
and very, yes. And so, again, because my kids are so little, there are certain things we talk about and certain things, you know, we wait until they're older to talk about. But it is important to expose them, even at their small, their young age,
Yeah, when they're babies.
about taking care of their body,
Right.
and how important, like how we shouldn't take our health for granted, and you know, enjoying physical activity,
Right.
and not just enjoying physical activity, but all aspects,
Right.
and putting the right things into our body to being, so that we're able.
Right, and that like brings up the fact that nutrition and health education goes beyond just healthy eating, and even just beyond physical activity. And y'all are going to see that later in the semester when we talk about risky behaviors, and you know, simply you know, staying away from drugs and staying away from alcohol, and then even stuff like fires, like in a house, and having a safety plan. So all of that is tied into nutrition and health education, and it goes beyond those basic diet principles. So yeah. Well, anything else that you would like to add? I know you originally weren't anticipating being a PE teacher, but
Not at all.
has this like opened your eyes to?
Oh, completely. And not, and it's, I hate to say this, but of course we all sometimes don't make the best decisions. You know, drinking sodas sometimes might be a vice that we're trying to. So I do find that by teaching this every day, it keeps me more accountable to making those good choices as well.
It's the life of a dietitian for sure. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time. Miss Victoria Roussel has taken time from her own spare time to help me with this, so I really appreciate it. But if y'all have any more specific questions for Miss Victoria, you can email me and I can get those to her and she can give us an answer. So
For sure.
I hope y'all enjoyed this. So you're going to watch this video and then you're going to answer the forum prompt. And you know, y'all are going to talk amongst each other about things that you learned and things that maybe you want to learn more about in regards to health and nutrition education whenever you're a PE teacher. So thank you very much.
You're
Y'all have a
welcome.
good day.